Okay, I'll get to the injury data that I have here for you. So Shaves, hurt his knee, came back into the game. We'll see where it goes from here. I'm still evaluating his situation. Gabe, unfortunately, has a torn ACL, and he'll be out for the season. Jordan Poyer, hamstring, he'll be week to week. Don Kincaid, I know there's, some information out there about him being in a boot. It was more precautionary. He should be fine this week as we head into the week of practice here. The rest of so Terrell Bernard, Max Harrison, Ty Johnson, all are improving. We'll see where it goes. Josh Allen certainly sore, and as you know, he's going to do whatever it takes to play. And then Damar Hamlin had a good first week overall coming off the IR, and or not off the IR, but opening up his window, and we'll see where that goes. And then we're going to return both Curtis Samuel and Ed Oliver to practice this week here. So time's yours.
The first player you mentioned with a knee.
Shavers.
Oh, Shavers.
Yeah.
You said Jordan's week to week. Is that not expecting him to play on Saturday then?
Correct. Yeah.
I guess, how did you feel like Jordan Hancock did filling in for him in the second half?
He did a good job. Yeah, young player. It's good to get him the reps he got, and did some really good things out there, especially for a young player that hasn't played a ton in terms of consistently back there. He's been in certain packages for us, but he did a good job.
They were going after him a little bit. Just what can he learn from that moving forward?
Well, when you're young, you're going to get targeted. They're going to go at you, especially even if you're not young, a player goes out, usually that's where the spotlight's going, into that position. So especially when you play in the secondary, so that they certainly did that, and I'm sure he'll learn from it.
What about the safety position? I know those two guys together, I guess Cole and Hancock. Can you give us what your take is now, given the player situation, how he's heading into this game? Just your general overview as to, without telling me like strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, of those two in terms of who they are as players and whatnot. I mean, they're two good young players, just at the start of their careers. Cole's obviously a year and a half into his, or a year plus now, and he's got more experience than obviously Jordan does. But Jordan's done some good things, and in college he played multiple positions. He played some nickel, played some safety, maybe even played some corner here and there. So he's been doing some of that for us as well. So he's got some position flexibility to work with also.
Did they get reps over time, over the last weeks or during the regular season? How many reps would they get together?
Not much. Yeah, I mean, just when you look at who's been back there with Damar, T-Rap, Jordan, Cole, Cam's been back there at times, Jordan Hancock, right? So you're cycling through quite a few. Savage has been back there, so probably not as much of continuity as you'd hope in terms of those two working together.
Any chance that Max Harrison could practice this week?
I'm not sure. We're seeing he is improving. We'll see where that goes.
Sean, even going back to week one against Baltimore, trailing in the fourth quarter the way that you guys did, it seems like resiliency has been kind of maybe the hallmark of this team as the year has gone on, whether it be trailing in games, coming back and finding a way to win, or dealing with these injuries kind of week over week. What do you think has allowed this group to be as resilient as it has been?
Well, you don't always have a choice, right? I mean, that's kind of how it goes sometimes. And the leadership of our team, right, led by Josh, his toughness, I mentioned it yesterday, I believe, after the game, permeates through our entire team, the organization, and then you go into the other leaders that we have. I mean, you got a lot of young guys playing yesterday, and some guys that weren't expected to play, but played prominent role, ended up playing rather big roles for us in the game. And it all starts when they can watch some of the leadership group lead by example, and that's what was happening yesterday. And then just the toughness through adversity over the season and through those moments, crucible moments that build character, build toughness, build callousness. There's a lot of different ways to say it, but it can either break you or it can make you stronger. As hard as it is, you want to come out on the other end, having it made you stronger. And I feel like, on the whole, that's what's happened with our team.
Do you point to any of those moments stand out to you that you look at?
Oh, man. Great question. I feel like, well, you mentioned the start of the season, right? I mean, the back half of that Ravens game and going against a really good team and being able to pull that game out, and then just, different moments from there, I would say quite a few of them. And I do believe, nobody wants injuries. Injuries happen to every team. The changes in the lineup week to week, you want to have more continuity, more consistency, a little bit maybe to Tim's question about the safeties. But that said, it forces you to, hey, this is your new teammate. Introduce yourself, right? Go out there and play together. And that also builds a certain level of adaptability, if you will, right? It's kind of like, all right, you're going to pick up and move from one school district to this school district. Nobody wants to do that, but hey, get in there and go meet your new classmates. And that's not easy. So, but I think that's what also builds character.
Sean, I apologize if I missed it, but did you mention Matt Prater? Just what's the plan for this week?
Matt Prater is in a good spot, and he will have some form of practice this week, maybe similar to last week, maybe a little bit more. We'll see.
With Shaq Thompson, Jordan Poyer, Brandon Cooks, Matt Prater, you guys brought in a lot of experience with several guys, and they've all made an impact on the field. I'm curious, with all that experience, wisdom that they've gained throughout their careers, how has that group made an impact off the field? Have you seen on your locker room and your football?
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I had a chance yesterday before the game. I saw Drayton Florence, who played for me before years ago. He was on our Super Bowl team. And, one of the things that stood out about Drayton, we had actually been released, I think, at the 53 cut, and then brought back a few weeks later, give or take. And what he brought to our team, he was a veteran back then, but and with a ton of experience. And hey, young guys, this is how you do things. This is how this works. On our journey that year on the run, and it was, to me, very influential in terms of his leadership and his wisdom, as you mentioned. And now you're seeing that in some of these other players with the vibe that they bring, the look in their eye during the week. Yeah, everybody's tired, and they're tired too, but I mean, they're digging deep right now. And so young guys see that, yeah, they'll hear it, but they're also going to watch it, and how these guys handle themselves on a short week like this and get themselves ready to go. And I mean, that environment yesterday was some of our young players' first experience in that type of setting. And to have those guys on the team lead by example, like I said before, is a great thing for us.
A lot's been made of disguising coverages and, pre-snap, post-snap, and even Coach Cohen gave you guys a lot of credit yesterday for being able to do that. But with all the new rules and the headsets and talking, has that forced you to evolve also in how you kind of approach changing coverages and doing different things throughout the week or on game day, basically?
Yeah, I mean, you try and do the best you can to disguise things. These offenses are evolving every year, and so you try and evolve with them. Sometimes there's only so many things you can come up with, though, year to year, week to week, I guess, too. And like I said, I think I made mention of this last week, of these offenses used to be able to game plan in a certain amount of time, and now it seems like it's like triple what the time that you have to spend, because there's so many different styles of offense just in one offense that you're going to face. And so it's, and now they've got the radio signals and all that type of stuff. So a lot of smart coaches out there.
Sean, you were asked about it after the game. It's been a fun kind of topic of conversation, game management approach. The idea of maybe trying to bleed a little bit more clock there. I don't know if, now that you've had a chance to go back and look at it again and review it and maybe fully digest it, how do you feel coming away from it? Do you feel like you guys made the right call, or would you have maybe done things differently?
Well, we're still processing through some of that, Jay, and you know, you want to make sure that when you take the field the next time that you say, hey, this is how we would either do it the same or do it differently. That's the key. And, you know, just getting back last night and turning it around quickly here, we haven't usually we'll sit as a coordinator group and a game management group and do that and see that process through. So usually that'll start early in the week, but it'll end later in the week here. So we're not totally there yet. Having said that, I mean, come on, who would not want to bleed time off that clock? It is a slippery slope, though, at the same time. If you try and get too cute and then you all of a sudden take yourself out of, call it quarterback sneak position, now you're running different plays. And now the chance for a negative play to come into play becomes more and more real. So there's a downside to that. Hey, yeah, listen, I was raising my hand, let's take time off the clock, you know, and just say that. You know, and so it's like, how do you want to do that, right? You want us to, hey, you know, get the ball and just kind of do one of those? Like, that happens in the backyard. Yeah, it does. It happens in the backyard. But, you know, and there's going to be a lot of people that is going to say, hey, oh, you could just do that. Why don't they try it first, and then when they don't score, you guys can talk about them. So I wanted to make sure that we didn't get too cute. That was when it's a little gray. You say, hey, let's trust our defense, and they did a phenomenal job.
You raised your hand. Who voted you down?
Me. I thought better of myself.
It was an unusual situation. I mean, you think of all these things that present themselves. Have you been around one like that?
Yeah, after the game, I was reflecting after I left you guys yesterday, and just getting changed and whatnot. I'm thinking to myself, I don't think I've ever. I know as a head coach, I've never been through that situation, but I also, I gotta believe it's happened somewhere with all the games over the years. I just don't know how many people have actually. What have they done? And so we'll do our research on that, and that's part of the process we've got to still get through. But I can tell you this: it's going to go on our core group of situations to try and work, and we'll go work on it. It'll probably never come up from here on out, but I'll be dead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
When it comes to Brandon Cooks, just what additional elements beyond the speed that he has, have you seen him contribute to this offense? I'm not sure if speed played a big factor in him getting open yesterday, just the instincts that he has.
Yeah, football player. I mean, veteran player has already been mentioned. Wisdom, experience. You just mentioned, I think, instincts. That to me is the game is football. It's not track. It's not 40-yard dash, weightlifting. It's football. And usually when you bring in good football players, you have a chance. Tough, good football players, high character. I mean, that's the vision from a culture standpoint, or some of it, So they got to fit into, who we are from a culture standpoint. And he's got football instincts. He obviously can run. He's tough. He's a good person. And I mean, we've only been around each other probably a month and change maybe. But that's what I see, and that's what I've heard about him before he got here. So, he loves to compete also. So that toughness piece is real, especially when you're a wide receiver. I mean, you look at the wide receivers around the league who are making plays right now in the playoffs. Yeah, most of them got that toughness element.
To that point, what do you need to see out of Keon Coleman this week, just knowing how banged up that room is?
Yeah, I mean, continue to move in the right direction. Continue to, the effort in the run game. You made the big catch for us yesterday down the sideline. That was a huge play for us. Set us up. I believe it was the first score. So anyway, just keep moving in the right direction, and he's been improving each week.
This is a Matt Prater question, but I want to ask in a more holistic sense. When you have a guy, you're not sure if he's going to go, or you want to check him out pregame, what do you look for in that pregame situation? And I'm kicker's such a different thing. What then do you do for a kicker that you wouldn't do for a position player?
I guess it's probably a little bit more on a case-by-case basis. You know, Matt was in a situation where he kicked Thursday, I believe it was last week. That was the plan. I thought, our training staff did a really good job of, along with Matt, of mapping that out. And then, he went out there and kicked pre-game, even before pre-game. And so I had a chance to get out there and watch him, and he looked good. He looked strong. And then being able to use Mitch, like I said, to take the kickoffs to help us there. I thought Mitch did a good job as well there. So, like I said after the game, those two guys are tough dudes now.
Once he gets the green light to go, how much do you monitor that during the game or your staff? Are they like every time he swings his leg or warms up into the net, you double checking to make sure he's good to go?
Yeah, I'm not. But usually I'll get someone will communicate to me of, hey, he's not feeling great. Like that's what happened in the previous game, right? So he wasn't feeling great, and kind of put the yellow light up, and we have a conversation then that ensues, and we get a little bit more information on what's going on and what he can and can't do. So that's kind of usually the backside of it.
Sean, I know you always prepare for weather, but altitude will be a big word this week. How do you go about this week kind of laying it out with your staff to making sure your guys are prepared to kind of deal with that?
Yeah, we'll deal with it, like we deal with other things at different stadiums, different geographic locations. So, we've got to make sure we do our due diligence and prepare, and that'll be a piece of it. At the end of the day, we got to make sure we're executing at the highest level.
You mentioned it. Did you say it? Captain?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mentioned it. Josh is going to do whatever it takes to play. As he's going to the blue tent, and he did so twice yesterday. How maybe amazed or were you that he just came out and as if nothing happened? I guess just his durability, and how much do you worry during those minutes that he's in the blue tent that the worst might be?
Yeah, every minute he's in the blue tent, I'm worrying. Right? I mean, and that's true of any player, right? You don't want any player. I don't want to see any player go down on our team or their team, and or have to go in the blue tent to be evaluated. I mean, nobody wants that, because you care about the people, right? These guys, I've said long before, these guys are more than just football players. So that's number one. Number two is obviously Josh is the face of our franchise, so nobody wants to see our quarterback, certainly me, go down, and so you do worry, and we're just glad that he's okay, and he's extremely tough and extremely competitive and wants to be out there with his teammates.
Coach, in your eyes, how have the Broncos changed over the last year? Faced them in the first round of the playoffs last year, and this year they get to sit a week and rest.
Yeah, I'm sure that feels good for them, getting that rest, getting that number one seed, and they've earned it. They've got a great team, all three phases. Very well-coached team, and have a lot of respect for Coach Payton, and he's done it at a high level, Super Bowl winning coach. So, we're gonna go out there and have to make sure we're rested, through the week as we try and prepare as well on the short week here, and we're gonna have to play better than we did this past weekend in order to win.
So Chambers is still being evaluated. Just how important has he been to the wide receiver room?
Yeah, he's been huge. I mean, you watch the way that he's developed, and his toughness, his flexibility to do more than one thing at the position. And I mean, he made a couple key catches yesterday, and certainly some key blocks for us, in particular on the last drive. And I mean, he's the type of guy, as I said before, no job's too small. What do you want me to do, Coach? Yeah, I'll do it. What do you want me to do on the other end of the spectrum? Yeah, I'll do it. So you really appreciate that about him.
With losing Gabe and Joshua Palmer for the season now, do you feel like, is it looking at bringing anyone in from the outside? Do you feel good with the group you have? Obviously, Curtis returning to practice.
Yeah, I feel good with the group we have.
Did you get any clarification, or does the league reach out to you at any point about that sequence at the end of the first half? any greater explanation as to what happened there?
No, and really didn't, because of the duration that's passed since the game and until now I'm being in front of you guys today. It's been a short amount of time, right? And then I looked at the play, I slowed it down. I think I got everything out of it that I need out of it, and if we have questions, we'll certainly call the league. But and there's things we can do better there also. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.